Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review. Space. An endless void with countless stars, some of which capable of harboring a planet that can support life. On one of these Goldilocks planets, far away from our own, life has indeed emerged. Yet, nothing is ever allowed to last. One day, the inevitable end will come. So in the meantime, life on this planet is competing for supremacy. They do not know it yet, but they are the Doomlings by Justus Meyer and Andrew Meyer from Doomlings LLC. Sure, it's a silly introduction, which goes really well with the silly illustrations by Justus Meyer, who is also the co-designer of this silly little family card game alongside his brother Andrew Meyer. Even the gameplay of Doomlings is silly, and I mean that in a really positive way. As the game itself explains at the end of the rules leaflet, for now, play something cute, try some things, and trust that the cards will help you find your way. These are very true words, and I love that the game encourages players to just play cards and see what happens. The rules are pretty simple to help with this easygoing approach. Setup might take a moment or two, but very quickly you're off and starting to build your gene pool of your cute little Doomlings. It's great when a game gets you playing within a few minutes and there's no expectation that you need to understand all of the rules straight away and have a solid strategy from the start that you follow diligently throughout the game. On the contrary, there just is no perfect way of playing the game. The deck of cards in Doomlings is huge and there are endless possibilities. In fact, there are plenty of expansion packs you can add to create even more combinations. So given the sheer amount of luck you're faced with, all you can do is play the best card at the time. Sometimes you need to keep a card or two that might be of benefit later on. Ultimately though, you always hope the next cards you draw get you more points, which inevitably they won't, of course. After all, we're all doomed to die. We're only here for a short glimpse in the eternity that is the lifetime of the universe. We can only do our best and hope that we outcompete the other Doomlings around the table. There are many different ways of scoring. Most cards simply have a face value of points. Many other cards give you points for having certain cards in your tableau in a sort of set collection style. There are also cards that trigger at the end of the game and allow you to gain some additional points. However, it's rare that you're actively working towards a certain type of point possibilities. There's just too much randomness that you could plan to collect certain cards in the hope of scoring big. All you're really doing is setting yourself up with as many scoring opportunities as possible. You're basically trying to give your Doomlings the best chance of survival. If luck isn't on your side, then you may still lose, but at least you did all you could. In some ways, Doomlings reminds me of Flux. You play a card which may allow you to play another card or discard cards, then draw up or discard down to the so-called gene pool number. Instead of the changing goals in Flux, in Doomlings it is up to you to pivot depending on the cards you draw and what other players do to your trade pile, which other cards you have played already in front of you. However, there is still a bit of flux in Doomlings, because the number of cards you can have in your hand at the end of your turn changes throughout the game. The real focus in Doomlings is on the huge amount of cards that come with the base game, and that you can increase even further with expansions. No two games will ever be the same. So while one approach might have worked really well for you in one game, the next game will be very different. You're unlikely to draw the same sort of cards. While that sheer amount of randomness might put some people off, I think you really need to lean into it when you play Doomlings. It's impossible to plan for combos and wait for the one perfect card that will simply never turn up. Instead, you need to enjoy the luck factor and create as much chaos as you can. A varied tableau with lots of possibilities stands a much better chance of winning than a highly fine-tuned one. Yet, when the perfectly honed trade pile does pull off the impossible, and hits the 1 in a million jackpot, it is absolutely amazing. So my advice is lean into the chaos. Doomlings is simply a silly game that is great for all the family. There are just enough rules to add enough spice and interest. The best approach to the game is to relax and enjoy the fun. Read the cards, see what other people have played, and have fun with whatever card you decide to play. I've now played Doomlings many times and every time was fun. I played with people of a wide range of ages and experience with modern board games, and the score at the end was always tight. It was never possible to tell who would come out victorious. Even when a player seemingly had a huge lead, 1 or 2 rounds later everything changed again. So get yourself a copy of Doomlings, strap in, play your trades and wait for the final catastrophe to decide who comes out victorious. If you're not taking the game seriously, you are guaranteed to have a lot of fun.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.